Hi, my name's Kay-Ann. Thank you for joining me here today. I wanted to pop in and tell you about a little experiment I'm going to try for the month of August. As we all know, September is when the new Hobonichis are released, and I'll be starting to figure out, my next year's setup. So I wanted to try something out because this is my cousin Avec, which I have really enjoyed for the last couple of years. I love the weekly pages, work very well for me planning wise. I like the vertical columns. I like everything about it. And then I have my daily pages that I do, in the back. So that's all working well for me. I did go to the Avec, which meant I also needed to have a extra little yearly calendar so I could see my whole year's plans, because there's many things that I plan lots of months ahead of time. So I needed to have the access to the whole year. So I am not willing entirely to give up on this. The only problem I'm having is that this is all a little too bulky to slip into my purse to have with me. So I experimented with having the A6 Hobonichi, which is much smaller, but the setup of it, like, it doesn't have the weekly pages and everything. So what I want to experiment with, I have a Hobonichi Weekly. This, by the way, the cover of this is a Czech Sparrow cover. And I currently have my Hobonichi Weeks in this Moterm cover. This has been more of a financial record for me, and kind of works. It works as well as I do, I guess, put it that way, in this. I keep my business checkbook and stuff, so it's kind of like a little bit more business. So that's worked okay for me in that function. But I'm wondering whether, because it does have the entire year in here, and then it does have a weekly breakdown, I'm wondering if I can make use of this as something to take with me, as a way to have my planner schedule with me. It also has more pages in the back, like for notes, like when I'm out and about and need to jot something down. It's got a pretty good, all of those are pages for notes. So, but before I plan, I know I'll still get a cousin for 2023. And still do that, because I plan to still do the daily pages. Whether I use the weekly pages different or the same, I don't know yet. We'll see. I know I'll still get a cousin, and I'm pretty sure that I will also get a weeks. But what I'm wanting to do is see whether this works for how it works out for my weekly planning, I guess, is what I really want to try out. And as the book that I carry with me in my purse, because this is I could even use this as a wallet. This is much smaller. I'm thinking about even getting, I might invest in a different cover for my weeks. I don't know yet, but I just need to try out and see how it's going to work. So August is going to be a little bit of an experimental month for me. See how that goes, and kind of make some decisions on what I want my setup for 2023 to be. So what I'm going to do right now is go ahead and I am going to kind of do a little bit of brainstorming, and maybe a little bit of I'm thinking maybe set this up in a few different ways the month of August, so I can kind of try out and see what works for me. So that's what I'm going to do today. And so I just invite you to join me on that. So I I do my own dates as a tiny version because I know people use smaller planners, and then I have other, I'm not sure where these are from, something came with these numbers. I think this is a Sticky Club, probably, set of numbers. So I have all my little small, I guess, numbers here. So I thought that I would use these. These are actually going to be available to my August patrons. So I thought that I might start with that. Have the month August here. So I'm going to go ahead and set up the month of August, ready for my month of experimenting. So here I go. I'm just going to do a little playing with this and see what I can brainstorm, what I think I might work for me. Because I printed these dates on transparent sticker paper, I decided I kind of want to cover up the dates that are on there so it's just not shown through me and confusing. I'm using Blick matte acrylic. Those are my favorite little of the inexpensive paints. Those are by far my favorite, and I just use those to kind of tone down the writing and the dates underneath so that they don't distract from what I'm sticking on. Now I'm just adding some watercolor on there to kind of enhance that little bit of vintage look or theme for these pages, and just kind of, I really like the look of a watercolor page. It's just really fun to watercolor on Tomoe River paper. I just like the way it moves and bleeds and blends. I'm using one of my Sarasa pens, one of the vintage colors. I think ties in really well with this, and so I have some dates that or some times that I'm just going ahead and writing down on here while I'm here and getting that set up that way as well. For the next week, I want to try something different, because one of the things I really like about my cousin is the vertical weekly view, and so I had the idea if I put my own dates on anyway, I could just turn this sideways and move from left to right, and I would have these little vertical sections. So I thought I'd try that for a week here and see how that goes, see if that works. I'm making this week a totally different color scheme. I kind of like, I've done this in my cousin as well, where each week has, I'm not all matchy or coordinated or, picky about everything having to match on there, but it is kind of nice to have a whole different color scheme where you can tell at a glance what week you're on. Like there's a distinctive difference between the weeks so that you know where you're at. I'm just going ahead and using watercolor to put in the days of the week there. Since it's a little bit different format, I want to make sure that I'm clear what I'm doing, that I don't get mixed up and, do it the wrong direction. Now I'm grabbing the Uni 1 pen, fairly new to me, and outlining those watercolor days of the week. And I think I'm just going to leave it at that for the setup here. I'm looking for some washi to, that ties in. I love having these little washi cards. They're so handy, and I have this little, it's a baseball card or Pokemon card or whatever, collector box. And I just have all these plastic playing cards and assorted things that I have wrapped washi around. I give these for my top tier patrons, get one of these washi cards with their packs usually each month, and I make one for myself, and these are the handiest things because I have all these different kinds of washi to pick from, but in a very compact space, so I do love using these. So I'm moving on to the next week, and I'm using some of my old sheets. I really like these little days of the week that are just little kind of hand doodled, I guess, ones from some of my past sheets. And so I'm just kind of trying something a little different here. I'm using up more of this box on, you know, with the day and day, and I don't know, like maybe it will extend onto the other page. I'm not, there's lots of nice little guidelines, like the box on the left page has like very faint, but it has markings for like dividing that into thirds so that you can use them in different ways. And then you can see on the right side where it has the grid, it has some heavier grid lines that also can kind of help you divide up. And I just, until I play with this a little bit, I'm not sure what's going to work best for me. I decided to go back and add a partition on one of the previous weeks. I just need to kind of spend some time experimenting and playing and see how things work for me. So that's kind of what my goal is for August. Here I'm kind of extending it out, like maybe this extra little column would be my menu for each day, or maybe it would be like a little tracker for, you know, did I get my steps in or whatever. And so I am just kind of playing around a little bit. I have these little, I don't know what they call them, but it's from Mandy Lynn Plans, and they're just these tiny little things that are easy to have with you that you can use in your planner. So I think I'm going to, for this is, I think, the last week that I do. It's almost the end of August, and so I'm using these little, these were another one of my favorites from ones I did. And I'm like, oh yeah, I want to cover up those numbers if I'm using the transparent sticker paper. So I go back and add some paint there. But I really like these little, I don't know, like office-y, I guess, dates. They look like they have little clips and thumbtacks and things like that on them. So then I have these Mandy Lynn Plans days of the week, and I'm just kind of playing with where those should go. So I think I settled on keeping it all to the left side. One thing I am realizing that if I put everything on that left edge each time, it may start bulking that up. Now I'm jumping to my monthly view for the month of August, and I'm just kind of blocking in. This is really helpful to me to just have like if I have a special event going on, if I have something I just want to block out some time for some reason and not schedule anything during that time, or have appointments, or you know, whatever. It really helps me visualize my available time in a month. So I like to use the watercolor, works really well to do that. You could also use highlighters to do that, but I usually have my watercolors handy, and that just is how I like to do it, I guess. So I am doing some of that blocking out, doing some of the specifically scheduled things, getting that written in, and just kind of getting myself oriented in a couple month period here, so that when I carry this with me, I can tell at a glance, like if I'm scheduling an appointment or something, I can tell at a glance what's available, what isn't, and that just is a system that works well for me. So I'm going to see if it works well to do it in the weeks. And so I decided, since I didn't have a whole lot of things already scheduled towards the end of the year, I decided to go ahead and carry this out through December, because if this is what I'm going to carry with me, I'm going to, want to be able to see that. So I think I'm pretty set up and ready now to give this a try as my personal journal. I'll have to decide whether I want to do the financial things separate in a separate journal, or how that's going to work. But for now, this will give me a try, and I can see what I think. Thanks for watching.